and a warm welcome to this first episode of In the Loop with InterPark Magazine. My name is David Whitworth, the editor of InterPark Magazine and the host of In the Loop, where we'll be keeping you in the loop with the latest of the leisure industry. My guest at this time is Prakash Vivekanand. He is the founder and CEO of Amusement Services International, the ASI Group. Prakash, welcome to this first program of In the Loop.
Thank you so much. I didn't know I was your first guest. Hope I'm not the guinea pig. So I'm happy to be with you.
I didn't tell you until this moment. It's a pleasure to have you on the show. Firstly, you've been a part of the entertainment and amusement industry for over 25 years. What inspired you to enter the field? And tell us a little bit more about ASI.
Oh, wow. Entertainment did not come to me naturally, or our form of entertainment really did not come to me naturally. I probably grew up playing a few video games, those retro arcade games and everything else that we had access to when I was growing up. And then I found myself in Dubai with an opportunity to host a leisure and entertainment trade show. So I came from a conferences and exhibitions background, and I was asked to organize an amusement industry show, which gave me the opportunity to, understand more about this industry, more about the people in the industry, the buyers and the sellers in this industry, the people who make this industry, right? And for whatever reason, I was drawn to this industry, and probably the one part that drew me to this industry is the people in this industry. I feel it's a very connected industry, right? So we are a very large industry in terms of money value and cash value and turnovers and everything else, but we are a very small industry in terms of people. People are so connected with each other, and that made me feel very welcome, as though it gave me a sense as though I belonged to this industry. And then one led to another. From exhibitions, I went into working for an organization that was a distributor for Sega at that point in time, and I got into this business of selling amusement games, and that had me even more connected to this industry. And then in 1999, I decided to start my own, because I saw the opportunity I saw the potential that this industry is ready for massive growth in our part of the world, in the Middle East and North African region. So I thought I was also young enough to take the plunge and take the risk, and I decided to start Amusement Services International at that time with an intention that we primarily represent the indoor entertainment industry, the family entertainment center industry. And in this, with that as a focus, we felt that one brand would not do justice to any successful family entertainment center. And you need to have an assortment of product from different manufacturers and different brands. So the plan was for us to have represent an assortment of companies that all complemented each other but contributed to making a very successful family entertainment center. And that's how I got into this industry. I mean, there were the part that probably inspired me most to be in this industry is the connection, right? So you relate to the games. It starts off as, wow, I'm in the fun business. And then as you kind of get, your feet wet and both your feet in, then you know that, wow, this is not fun at all. This is real serious business. But you're in the process of, delivering fun to those millions of players who are out there entertaining themselves with your machines. And it's a great joy. And especially, there are projects that we complete. And then when I go and visit these projects, when they're operational and you see the joy and all of these kids and all of these players who are playing out there and entertaining themselves on the games that you supply, it's a fantastic feeling, and that probably inspired me to keep getting better and better at this, and then go from year on year. And today we have completed 26 years in this industry. We've earned a good name for ourselves, and we made some fantastic connections with fantastic people. I still remember some of them who encouraged me when I started my career in this business. To date, remain very, very close. Not just business partners, but very close friends. We share a really special bond with a lot of them. So it's been an incredible journey.
That's really, really special. And I can feel from here oozing the passion for the industry. It radiates loud and clear for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody can survive in this business without being passionate, right? And particularly, and that's a common factor that I see with a lot of people who spent a lot of time in this industry. It's really that passion that's kept them going. It's truly an industry where, you know, it takes you 6 months to define whether you're in it or not in it, right? And if you complete those first 6 months, you're in it forever, right? It's an amazing fact about our industry.
About KSI, it delivers a variety of services. How has it become the major regional player that it is today?
I think it's really about understanding the market and the needs of the market, right? So when we got into this business, we realized this was a growing market. There were people who were ready to invest in this market, into our industry and our business, but we realized very early that not all of them invested in operating such facilities right. So the relationship between the design of an entertainment facility to the type of amusement equipment that goes into this entertainment facility, and then the requirements to operate this facility, we had to establish that relationship, and we had to make sure that we're able to cater to all these three different segments. Because you get any of these wrong, then 9 out of 10 chances are you're not a very profitable leisure and entertainment business setup, right? Mm-hmm. And we're also a business which is very capitally intensive. You know, from the time you decide to do a family entertainment center, you're spending on design, you're spending on equipment, you recruit staff, and you open. And then after that, you've got to wait for your customers to come in and play and spend lots of money before you can be profitable and, you know, make a good return on investment. So if you've not read your demographic right, if you've not read your customer base right, if you've not selected the right equipment, or there are mistakes in the design, all of which can be very telling. And even if you got all of this right, if you're not constantly upgrading the operational service and excellence that you're providing to your customers, making them wanting to come back to this facility and play, then more often than not, you're likely to be facing a decline in your business revenues, right? So we wanted to be that entity that catered to all of these facets of the business, and we kind of grew organically. We started as a distribution entity. We realized that some of the operators and our customers were not doing things right, and they were blaming the amusement equipment, when the problem was not in the equipment, but was either in their operations or some aspect of the design not being right, or their customer service not being right. So we said that, look, we've got to be in a position to be able to cater. If we create successful customers, they're going to help us grow our business. So it is probably this approach that led us to being successful. It's about choosing your manufacturing partners wisely, to ensure that they were all as invested in this market like we are. They were supporting us, and then maintaining a fantastic relationship with customers who then, you know, took into account your advice. And then when those advisors turn out to be good advisors, they then want you to provide more advice and more insights into their business. By helping them grow, we grew. And that's probably how we became a fairly significant regional player.
Yeah, growing little by little, I can see.
Right.
Are there any upcoming projects or products that ASI are involved with that you can disclose?
Quite many. You know, we've got we reached a point where we could bring any product and that offered entertainment, and people come into the arcades and put that money in. Today, we are competing with the mobile phone. We are competing with home-based, entertainment systems in the form of PlayStation and virtual reality equipment, games that's available for home use, right? So the experience that we provide within and out of home environment has to be pronounced, has to be something that vibes well with the generation of players who are playing in. So as the industry transformed, or as the industry evolved, we as suppliers also needed to evolve. So our really strong relationship with the manufacturing fraternity helped us with this. We give them input from our market. When they're developing product, they're always talking to us well in advance about those product ideations and everything. And we make sure that these products are suited to to the global market. It's just not us giving input. There are many other big distribution companies who also give their input to the development of such product. And because eventually we all want to deliver products that entertain and products that make money in a location, right? So we are equally invested as investors in manufacturers, understanding the pain point of the manufacturers who are doing all the investment into R&D and production and everything else. But when you've contributed to the development of a product, you take ownership to that contribution and the product, right? And therefore you put your weight behind the product and actually sell it. So at this point, we're involved in quite a lot of the product development with Sega, with LAI, with Baytech, with many of the other companies that we represent. And we are extremely upbeat about the range of products that we're going to launch, because I feel a lot of these products vibe very well with the present generation of players and the type of games that they want to play. So we are very excited about the new Cyberpunk game that we're going to launch at Deal. We've been working closely with Baytech on their attraction Hyperdeck, which they took over as a company from Major Mega, the original creators of this game, and we're involved with them with creating some really exciting new content for this, because I've not seen a better VR attraction than Hyperdeck at all. It is, to me, it is the finest VR equipment there is, and at least based on what I have played on today. So we're really excited about bringing that to Deal and launching that at Deal. We've got, I think, about 7 or 8 other first-time launches at Deal that we're very excited about. We're looking at other new launches which I can't talk much about, that will be launched at IAPA in Orlando in November this year. So yeah, I mean, in terms of products, we've got some fantastic products coming in. In terms of projects, ASI's design entity is very highly regarded in this part of the world for providing very practical solutions to the leisure and entertainment business. Today, when you're designing an entertainment facility, the attention span of the present day generation is fairly limited. So whatever you design has to be very morphable, and we have to have that strong realization that it is amusement equipment that makes money. The design sets the surrounding and creates the ambience to make it even more fun. So to establish that right balance is what has contributed to our success in terms of making such projects profitable, but maintaining the right balance between what is spent on design and decoration and what is spent on amusement equipment and what really makes the money. So by virtue of our own success in this business, we are involved presently in projects in Kuwait. We are involved in several projects in Saudi Arabia. We're involved with a project in India. We've got at least 3 or 4 different projects happening at this point in time in the United Arab Emirates, some of which are very adventure-based, and many of which are very social in terms of locations, more positioned at the young adult age group, right? So we've competitive socializing has been growing rapidly in Europe, but that the Middle East was a little bit slow to come to that change, but we can see that happening. It's catching up really quickly. And the nice thing about the Middle East is that a lot of these social concepts are able to be profitable and exist without the need for alcohol. So which is positive.
Yeah. Just switching gears, you're heavily involved with MENALAC's MENA Leisure Report of this year, 2025. What can you tell us about your involvement?
You see, I've always had this belief that you grow as long as the industry grows. So, and it's important not just to grow as a company, but also help the industry grow. So and that was a motivation behind the formation of MENALAC, right? Of which I was a founding member, and several other like-minded people came together, and that's how MENALAC was born. And as MENALAC started growing from its infancy to becoming more impactful as a trade council, one of the things that all members of the council realized was that data is always lacking about our industry, and we need to make, and today data helps you make sound decisions, helps you make sound business decisions, right? So and in the absence of data, we are dependent on other agencies and entities who've got no real involvement in the region, but is giving us some data about this region. So the inspiration behind, or the motivation behind, the MENA Leisure Report was to create a publication that can put data about all the 19 MENA region countries into one place, so that, because there are many small countries and larger countries as a part of the MENA region. And then many of the operators could be based out of, let's say, Dubai, but could be operating in multiple countries. So and this data is just not about data about, how well is a leisure and entertainment operation doing, right? That is one aspect of the data. But a lot of the times your investment is on the basis of the macroeconomic data about that particular country. What is the population of the country? How young is the population of the country? What are the numbers of people who are in a marriable age and could be creating families tomorrow? How many young kids do we have in that population mix? And all of these contribute. And what are the disposable income in these countries, and what do typically people do for leisure and hospitality in these sort of countries? Now, we wanted to have a single publication which has all of this information, and also we wanted to create a culture where people start sharing information for the larger benefit of the industry, and to create benchmarks that they can measure their own leisure and entertainment operation against. So these were the kind of motivations behind the MENA Leisure Report. The first edition of this, the board of MENALAC asked me to go ahead to produce this, or embark on this adventure in 2019, and which was all stalled thanks to COVID. And then we launched the first edition of the MENA Leisure Report in 2022 or December 2021. And that was so well received, and so many people appreciated this particular initiative of finding all that information within a single 500-page publication with pertinent data, and data that mattered to the leisure and entertainment investor or developer or operator. Our survey established a lot of benchmarks in terms of, what is the average per capita spend within leisure and entertainment facilities? What are the average footfalls within entertainment facilities in different MENA countries? What is the average dwell time within these entertainment? So all of which are useful information on which you can, one, measure your own operation, two, set up new operations, looking at the opportunity in these particular countries, right? So, and all the learnings that we had from the first edition, there were many things that we did right. There were a few things that we did wrong. We corrected those mistakes, and the second edition is promising to be even better. The data that we've collected is fantastic, and we're very excited about launching the second edition of the MENA Leisure Report during the Sea Show in Saudi Arabia.
It sounds a fascinating insight, Prakash, into everything you need to know about what is happening.
Right. Correct. Yeah, and it's got different facets to it, right? So it's got a human resource survey that tells about the type of nationalities we employ, the type of typical salary brackets and everything else that is existing in our industry, to a marketing kind of module that talks about what are the best marketing channels that one should use to reach out to customer bases in here, and what are established operators doing, what is more used, are influencers really influencing the growth of your business or not. So it's really pertinent data. And then you have the CEO's module in terms of what do CEOs think about the growth of this business and the future prospects of this industry, and is this industry going to grow? What are the regions? Where do they see growth happening in this industry? All very useful information for property developers, for commercial property developers, for embassies, for trade bodies, for chambers of commerce, and of course any other investor who's interested to get into this industry. So really, we're all, as MENALAC, we are really excited about the next publication.
And speaking of MENALAC, you were inducted into the MENALAC Hall of Fame. Congratulations with that prestigious honor. What does that recognition mean to you personally and professionally?
I don't know. I wasn't when they told me that, when it was announced that I was going to be a Hall of Famer, I thought that, do I really deserve this recognition at a young age? I felt I was not ready for it, and but good on many in the industry who felt that I deserved this recognition. I'm still doubting myself on it from time to time, right? So because there were many other people who have won this accolade and who have contributed a lot more to our industry. But at the same time, I do feel happy that the industry did recognize the efforts that I put in terms of bringing them all together, and I do feel that if in any way I can inspire many other young professionals and other professionals in this industry to contribute similarly, and then become a part of the MENALAC Hall of Fame, that would be the greatest accomplishment, I think. So because the two key aspects for me is to attract more young talent to our industry, because we are now, a lot of the customers that we're catering to are Gen Z, Gen Alpha, and everything. So we need to attract more young talent to the industry who can understand these sort of people. And we want these young talent to thrive in our industry, and we should mentor them to thrive. So through these recognitions, if I'm able to inspire more people to come into our industry, that is probably the recognition that I want.
Over the time you've been in the industry, you're incredibly well known among your peers, industry professionals. You touched on this point before. Are there any close friendships, in particular relationships, that have significantly impacted you?
Oh, so many. Early relationship with David Snook of Intergame is something that I must really say. David was somebody who spotted me very young and always encouraged me to say that this industry is made for you. You should go for it. So that I always, cherish as that relationship, which I still have with David. And sometimes we get on each other's nerves, but that's David and that's me, right? So and then there's so many. I mean, very, very hard to single out one or two, right? And but the early ones are always the ones that you cherish the most. My initial relationship that started off with a distribution of Sega with Paul Williams, that's surely a memorable one. Paul and I are very, very close friends now, and we collaborate a lot, and as business partners as well as as distributor, as well as personally. We always have each other. So in case I need anything, I need somebody to talk to, Paul's always go-to person for me. So there's so many. There's there isn't one or two that I can name. As I said, this industry is about its people, and people make this industry special. And when you establish great relationship with these people in our industry, you can only grow, and it's a fantastic place. So I don't want to talk about just one or two specific names. I would say that the relationship with Sega and David Snook when I first entered this business, Sega when I first entered the distribution side of the business, and Baytech as another company when we first entered the distribution side of the business. The two first brands that we started with was Sega and Baytech. So and the success with these two brands led to many of the brands talking to us. So therefore, the way these two brands supported me when I was still an upstart means a lot to me. And that led to other friendships. So therefore, I probably named these, but they're one too many to really single out.
I can imagine. You've spent many years making fun and entertainment more accessible. Is there one memory or project that springs to mind that made you the proudest?
The very first project that I was involved with in terms of design was a project that we did in Saudi Arabia called Fantasy Factory. At its time, it was a part of a smaller mall. It wasn't a very large project. But what we did in there in terms of content, in terms of layout, in terms of design, in terms of impact of design and equipment was truly special. And that project was a true revelation for a lot of people, right? In terms of for a lot of other investors who all went to that particular project and said, wow, that is a well-designed project and everything about that project looks right. And there was so much that I learned because design and those spheres were still new to me at that point in time. Through the construction, through the development of this project, there's so much that I learned in terms of what are the things to do right and what are the things that could go very wrong with a project and what are those things that we really got right with this particular project. It taught me so much. So that is a project that I cannot, really remove out of my memory, because that was truly special. There are many other special projects that we did. We recently we had worked with the very first Fun City in the very early days back in 1999, and then recently when we redesigned that first Fun City to give it a new shape and a new form and a new existence. That again was very cherished, to say that you were a part of the journey when they first started, and then 25 years later, you're back working with them to kind of redesign and reposition. It's a great statement by the fact that you've endured a 25-year-long relationship with the company, and the company still trusts your judgment to ask you to come back and redesign this particular space, right? Yeah. So that is again a very special project that holds a lot. I mean, there are so many projects. There are projects that we've designed where we did the first project in a brand new country which has never seen entertainment before, like the one that we did in Addis Ababa, and then we designed it in a kind of a jungle theme called Bob and Bongos, and when that project, I was there for the opening, and the president of the country was there to inaugurate the project. Wow. Showed the significance and the importance of the project. And to see all of those kids coming there, they were so happy to see the theming, the decoration, the fantasy that we realized it was just 14,000 square feet. But to those kids, it was their visit to Disneyland, right? So they saw their fantasies come alive. So I think that was another special project. There are quite a many, and every time we do something different, we are always very happy about. We never knew operations. The very first operation that we did was as a part of the Atlantis the Palm. When it first opened, we opened a really small store called The Zone. And then the way we learned operations by operating the store, catering to different nationalities, different guests. We knew the season where we would have a lot of Russian guests, the season where we would have a lot of Arab guests, the season where we would have a lot of guests from the UK. And then how we kind of evolved our operation to cater specifically to these guests was a fantastic journey, and that's a journey that we kept rediscovering what we needed to do right. Every time we had a new batch of people come in, and that was a fantastic project that still stays strong. And we've now ever since expanded on the zone. We've got many more zones now operational. And all the good values that we learned from the very first zone, we still apply to the other zones that we operate. So yeah, I mean, there are many. So
in the time that InterPark has known you, the entertainment industry has grown exponentially in the Middle East. How do you think it will continue to evolve, and where do you think it can increase in general?
The demographic. The key is that end of the day, you gotta have the people to put that money into any project that you realize, right? And that's what makes a project successful. It's the footfall, it's the revenue, it's what people talk about at the end of it. So, but the problem you have is you have competition from many spheres. Those competitions are not just in the form of other entertainment centers. It could be a circus in town. It could be a big show in town. It could be a seasonal event that happens in a city or whatever, all of which kind of can take people away from the entertainment facility. More importantly than all of this, I think it's the urge of the modern day player to want something new all the time, right? So it's the industry is at a crossroad and will continue to be at crossroads every 2 years, I feel, because technology shifts are drastic today, and then there are newer technologies that become available to you, the new games that people want to play, and there are better graphics, there are better gameplay, there is more interaction, all of these are factors, right? So I think to be successful going forward, one needs to be nimble. And one needs to be very, very marketable, not be stuck to a certain idea. And any leisure and entertainment operation should position itself to be very, very marketable. And sometimes, even if you're planning on an IP-based attraction, it's IP-based entertainment facility, you got to make sure, you got to understand what kind of an IP is that? Is that an IP that's going to give me regular updates? And are those updates going to be in tune with the people and what they really want? Or can I make it morphable? Is it media based? Can I change that content? And can I license that IP only for a period of time, fully knowing that within that time I have to change? And what cost can I make that change? It's about all of this, and it's about understanding these dynamics before creating what is right. So the future is bright, but only for those who are able to deliver an experience.
Mm-hmm.
Entertainment has to be experiential. Any facility that you open, whether it's a restaurant or a coffee shop or an entertainment facility, it has to be experiential. And that experience has to be morphable, right? So, and then with all of this, you also, from a design perspective and everything else, you got to create the impulse with what you do, with your marketing, with your design and everything. You got to create the impulse. The impulse will bring them in. The experience will keep them there and probably bring them back again. And then you have to keep rediscovering these experiences. So from an ASI future perspective, we are looking at a product line and concepts that are experiential. And from a market future perspective, again, it's the same two words, impulse and experience. They go hand in hand. You got to create the right impulse, and those impulses have to be experiential. So when they are, then you get your customers, to come back and want to try that experience again. So.
Yeah. What has surprised you the most about the development of the industry in the MENA region?
Their ability to want to invest in something new, something different, and they're never ever afraid to try out something new. They are keen to do the outrageous sometimes, to say that the fact that they want to do the tallest something or the widest something or the biggest something doesn't always deter them, and they want to make it big. They're very keen to put the region on the world map in terms of having very unique experiences and attractions, and that makes it really, really special to be working in this. I mean, over my 30 years in Dubai, I have seen this entire region transform from being a really sandy desert to the modern metropolis, boasting of the best architecture, the best roads, the best infrastructure, and everything else. And I'm really privileged, I must say, to have been a part of this journey, to have been in the middle of all of this, to see all of these magnanimous developments. And I do think that's a part about this region that always keeps me very connected. And the Arabs are fantastic people. They are, once you win them over by heart, they remain connected with you, and they'll always participate with you in everything that you do. They are willing to take the risk with you because they trust you, right? So and that feeling, you don't get that from many other countries. It's true to this Arab world in particular, that once you win them over, you have won them over. And as long as you maintain that trust, they stay connected with you. And that's been a fantastic feeling for me over the years. And by virtue of these relationships that I built, I think that there's a lot of scope for a fantastic future ahead. But as I said earlier, it has to work around building unique experiences. To do something someone else did is probably cannibalizing the revenue between you and them. To be something unique, to be that company that sets the standard for others to follow, will keep you unique. And as long as you make sure that the standard you've set is not a standard you can follow forever, you have to keep raising that standard.
Absolutely. And in terms of, in general, with the leisure and amusement industry, obviously it's changed dramatically in recent history, like in the MENA region. What are the biggest trends and shifts that you have observed?
I think from just family entertainment, the big shift is in the fact that customer expectations have changed. They want more. They want better. They want bigger. They want more experiential entertainment. So we've seen that shift going more towards interactive entertainment. We've seen concepts like Activate, concepts like Velo Arena, concepts like adventure rope courses, rope gliders, indoor rope gliders, all of them succeed. We've seen the success of air parks. We've seen the success of, now more recently, the batting cages and that sort of interactive sports-based entertainment coming in. So And we've seen also the evolution of traditionally very successful formats like soft play areas become a lot more interactive with a lot more technology layers added onto it. We've seen VR come and go. It's always challenging on the VR side of it. Standalone attendant-free VR has done very well. The attended VR, some of the challenges that we've seen is onboarding customers, their ability to understand instructions, their ability to grasp the game quickly, and communication is a key factor in all of this, because we have different nationalities of people living here, all of whom speak English differently, understand English differently. And we've got different nationalities of game attendants who are servicing these different nationalities. So this has been a huge challenge to understand that the technology is changing so quickly on these spheres. So to have qualified technicians who are able to troubleshoot and maintain these devices, performing in condition, that has been a huge challenge too. So that's probably why free roam VR has not been as successful as unattended VR. But we can see more of mixed reality and augmented reality playing a higher part. We've seen gamification play a much bigger role now in terms of integration. So we've got to rethink about the way scoring is done on games, and how games from different manufacturers can all integrate to a common scoring platform, and how these can contribute to a larger redemption process, or a larger reward process, or a larger loyalty process in terms of customers, revisiting your particular entertainment center. So, and we may probably even see a very connected world whereby, there could be a collaborative environment between different entertainment centers where, your points from one can be used in another. I mean, it has to be, we've got to see some disruption in this in terms of how people play, so that, because people want something new, and people are going to rotate between locations, particularly in our market. It may not be the same for many of the markets where traffic and ability to the possibility to only go to a certain entertainment space in a certain locality is probably valid for many of the regions, not so much for our region, because anywhere to anywhere 15-20 minutes on a weekend. So and I think we have to find more collaborative ways of succeeding. We've got to find more interesting ways of retaining your customers in the future, to a large extent, for us to keep going in terms of creating just the biggest and the tallest and the largest space alone is not enough. It's about how you engage your customers within these spaces, right? That's going to define the future. Hope
Just
I
switching gears.
Yeah.
Just switching gears a little bit, it's a special year for InterPark magazine because we're celebrating 30 years in the industry. Right. In those 30 years, how has technology changed and developed?
We used to eagerly await for the hard copy of Intergame and InterPark to come into our office. Today we read them online. Right? So that is one change in technology. So it's look, to me, Intergame and InterPark are integral parts of our industry. Sometimes it can be the tabloid of our industry, but it's a fun tabloid to read. I never miss an issue. I still make sure that I go through every expose that is written within your columns, right? So it's to me, your magazine is, over the last 30 years, has been a part of us, has been a part of ASI, has been a part of me, has been a part of this industry. So and technology gets us information faster. We're waiting every month to get an issue. We get weekly snippets now. We read your magazines online in a paid suite type of a model, and we are able to access information now no matter where. I want to find, Intergame is always a go-to resource for me. So if I want to really find some suppliers, I refer to one of your guides and your directories, and then I'm able to find a supplier that I want to reach out to. And sometimes way more focused than a Google to find out, because not everybody can be found on the first page of a Google search, but you can find it through Intergame, and it's probably somebody from the industry that you can talk to and relate to. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And just finally in this section, what does the future hold for ASI?
Oh, I I think it's about keep trying, keep evolving, right? So that's what the future is about. The future cannot be static to say that, well, I plan to be there in 5 years' time, or I plan to be there. I think unless we keep raising the benchmark, we keep rediscovering what we're doing, we keep catering to the needs of the market, because the market's evolving, so we need to evolve with these markets. I think the future for us is keep evolving, stay current.
Excellent. In our magazine, we have a special section called Personally Speaking, where we get to know our guests a little bit more. So we thought, obviously, to give you some rapid fire questions in general.
Right.
So, personally speaking, not a lot of people know this, but I am very good at
Playing darts.
playing darts. So I love darts. Yeah. Very, very good. Yeah, you play quite a lot.
Whenever I get the opportunity.
Excellent.
So yeah, I like it. It's a good stress buster for me.
Very, very good. The best thing my parents taught me was
Ethics and integrity.
Very good.
So don't lose those two for anything.
The most interesting place I've ever been to is
Ooh, there's so many. Las Vegas.
Las Vegas. Right? Very good. If I could invite a celebrity to dinner, it would be
Oh, that's a tough one. Jennifer Lopez.
Jennifer Lopez. Good a choice as any, for sure. I always laugh at
Many times myself, and sometimes, yeah, myself.
Very good. My favorite musician or band at the moment is
At the moment and for a while has always been Queen.
Queen. Great choice. Great choice.
Right.
Yeah, I went to Switzerland a couple of years ago, and they have a big museum there, and the Freddie Mercury statue is there. For any Queen
Right.
fan in Montreux in the south of Switzerland, it's a beautiful place. Yeah, Long live Freddie. It's amazing. Yeah. Great music.
Yeah.
Eternal. Absolutely great choice.
Right.
To really chill out, well, apart from listen to Queen, what else do you chill out
Yes. to? I like to DJ. So
Wow.
DJing has always been my passion. I like to DJ. So really chill out. I like to spend time with my turntables and then DJ at home for myself. And I do like to, and off late or post COVID, I've developed a special affection towards golf, and it gives me 4 hours without having to worry about anything else. I just forget it's just me and the ball, which I hit in all different directions. So yeah, so it's yeah, to chill out, it has to be either DJing or golfing.
DJing golf and darts in that order, or maybe in another different order. It's perfect. That's the perfect way to chill
All
out, I
three,
think.
all three,
Excellent.
all three. Good.
And
Yeah.
the final question, what am I most grateful for?
My family, my parents, my team. These are in that particular order, right? And then finally, the relationships that I built with the many people in the industry, which I would never want to lose. So, and I'm truly grateful for all of these. My family has been very important to me in terms of the values that they put into me. Rather, my parents are very important to me for the values that they put into me. My family, because this leisure and entertainment industry is never an easy industry. It takes a lot of time for you away from family, and the fact that the family is always understanding about it and keeps egging you to go on, that's a fantastic thing. That they all think, especially my kids, they all think, oh, my dad is in the fun business, but then they don't know what I go through, right? So in terms of this, and then my team, I'm really blessed to have almost 50-60% of my staff working with me for about 18 years, 15 to 18 years or more. To have such a blessed team to go through the process with you, to help you grow the business and then stay with you through thick and thin. They are people that I'm enormously, eternally grateful for. So yeah.
That's a lovely way to wrap up the show. Thank you so much for your time, Prakash.
Thank you so much. And thank you for this opportunity. Again, the first one, the guinea pig. So I look forward to seeing a copy of this soon.
Excellent. Well, it's my part. Thanks to Prakash for his time. And we will see you in the next edition of In the Loop with InterPark Magazine, where we will keep you in the loop.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.